Well, here I am outside in my greenhouse. This is also a homemade scratcher by, I'm pretty sure, the same guy that made the blue one. This does not have his name on it, but the blue one does have his name on it. Again, this has a 18.5-inch wheel. It's got 23 spikes on each side with a total of 46. Now this has a what I thought was a special design. It's angle iron bolted to the wheel, and as you can see there, it's sharpened, and there's 3 of them radiating out only on this side. This chain's sprocket is going to get in the way in the other. Now, I thought this was possibly for a like a paddle or something that gets you through a slush, you know. So if you can see, it's not quite as this angle iron is sharpened. It's actually sharpened on both sides. It's sharpened on this side here for some reason, which doesn't do anything, and it's sharpened here. Pretty much the same angle is that spike there, if you can see it. So I thought this was maybe to grab the ice in case the wheel cut down into like some soft ice, like honeycomb ice, and it would propel the wheel a little bit better through harder ice. But from further thought on it, I think it was put on later to straighten the wheel out, because this guy's design, he used really thin steel, and the wheel's bent, and the blue one's bent. Anything that this guy made with the thinner steel bent. So I think this is 1.852 inches thick. It's 3/16, and it's just a little too thin. There's the other brand is a little thicker, and it's 0.2 inches. And then I've got even a later model that's a 1/4 inch thick, and those don't bend, but this 3/16 bends. 0.20 inches does not bend. But I think they just put these on because the wheel was bent, and it was kind of they're going to try to straighten it out. But I have seen scratchers, some homemade scratchers, and also there's these sleds they sold as kits. And the sleds they sold as kits, they actually just sold it for kids to put together, and they had angle iron spikes like this, multiple, you know, probably 12, 13, 14 on each side, and they just bolted them on, so the little kids didn't mind. They just put the bolts in it when the kit got home, and they bolted it on. I've also seen other scratchers, not the sleds, not the ice sleds, but I've seen a homemade scratcher. Again, they had angle, and they probably had the angle iron coming up, you know, 3/4 of an inch above the circumference of the wheel. Those were riveted on, like the hammer rivets. They weren't pop rivets, but the person actually riveted on. I've got some old pictures of it. I know it's up on the group page, but it looked like a pretty interesting design. No welding involved. I'll do a quick measurement of these angle iron teeth, I guess you could call them. So the length is maxed out. The length is probably 6.5 inches. But again, on the scratcher ones, they had coming out probably 3/4 of an inch. this angle iron is, it's not equal on both sides, so let me turn this on. So this angle here is probably 1 inch. And this angle here is probably 1.5 inches. How would I measure that? Measure it like that. That's probably 1.5 inches. Well, it's probably 1 3/4 inches. Yeah, they just bolted it on. There's no reason you'd really need to weld them on. Probably 1.5 inches is enough. I think if you get wider, then it doesn't bite down into the ice as well. And I would say this is not as thick as these teeth here, but it looks about, pretty close to the angle on there. And the teeth, I'm sure, are perpendicular to the circumference of the wheel, and this one looks to be, well, I know it is because they've got it bolted on, coming out as a radius from the axle, radiating from the axle. So, maybe you could just use some angle iron and have people bolt them on. You don't have to dick around with it. Just have them manufacture it and put it together for you. Yeah, it'd just be a matter of pre-drilling the holes. It looks like these bolt holes are about, hang on a second. The bolt holes on center are probably 4.5 inches center for, 4.65 center. This being 6.5 inches long. And the person used the existing bolt hole here, and then he drilled a hole for that bolt there. That was probably after manufacture. Yeah, so 3 would not be enough if you just wanted to use it as a substitute for the spikes that are welded on. I would say minimum would probably have to be half the number of spikes. So instead of 22, you'd do like 11 on one side and 11 on the other. However, you'd have to make either both sides this short because you can't have the angle hitting the chain here. But whatever the total length of this angle iron for the tooth would be, you'd still probably need two bolts or 2 rivets to hold it in place.